Hey, what's up? You found me again. Okay, today we're talking domain and range. We're going to see, what do you know? Domain and range is just creating the boundaries of data, right? So these are our boundaries. That's what we're looking for. Okay, important vocabulary. You have to learn the vocabulary or else this is always going to be confusing. Domain, range, talking about very different things. All right, so domain is the set of all x values, all the x values. Okay, we're talking about when we're looking at domain, what x values are part of my graph, are part of my table, that it's my data. What are the x values that are part of the data set, right? Okay, I also want you to know, just side note, domain is always about the independent quantity. Okay, so domain is our x values are independent. Okay, so how we note this notation algebraically is usually x is in the middle, right, because it's the x values. We have our inequality symbols, and we'll talk about that in just a minute, but you're looking for the furthest left that your graph goes to the furthest right that your graph goes. That's what we're doing. We're creating a trap, right? We're trapping our graph. And so this would be all our x values that are part of this graph, this information, right? So that's what we're looking for. We're going to look, what's the furthest left, furthest right? I want you to note that when we look at these inequalities, notice they're both pointing the same direction. That's so important. Please don't make them opposite ways or else it's all jacked up and it's wrong and everyone cries because, ooh, I messed it all up, right? So they both face left, right? Because we're saying x exists. This is how you read it. X, all x values between whatever's the left and the right. So x is between the furthest left and the furthest right. That's how you read that, right? I do want you to know that it's not always or equal to. We might just have less than, and there are some cases where we'll write it a little different. We'll see that as we look at some examples, okay? So domain is x values, which makes y the set of all our, makes range the set of all our y values, okay? So how we look at this, notice same thing. The thing here is that we're looking at the lowest to the highest that our graph goes, right? So now instead of left to right, I'm looking, what was the lowest point of my graph? All the way to what's the highest point of my graph. Okay, so that's what we're looking, low to high, and these would be the y values. So anytime we're talking about range, we're going to have y in the middle. And again, note that our inequalities both point left. It could, again, just like with domain, point be less than, not or equal to. And we'll talk about that. And again, you read it just by saying y is between whatever the lowest and the highest values are, right? So if it's 0 to 5, this would be y is between 0 and 5. If it's negative 10, 15, y is between negative 10 and 15, right? That's just how you read it. So let's put this together, though, and look at what does that all mean, right? Okay, so we're looking at example A. Before we even start talking domain and range, there's a few things you need to watch out for. Watch out, right? Okay, first thing are these dots. Watch out, okay? If it's opened, remember inequalities, open dot means less than, right? So it's not or equal to. This is not included. That's why it's less than, not or equal to, okay? Watch for that. If we have a closed dot here, that would make it or equal to because it is included. Okay, so you have to watch out. Watch out, look at the dots. You also have to look out for arrows. What in the world do arrows tell us? Arrows mean infinity. Okay, it keeps going forever, so we can't trap that side. We're going to have to leave it open so that our trap extends forever with the graph. All right, pick two different colored pencils. Here we go. We're going to start with our domain, which is our x values. I'm telling myself left to right, left to right. I'm even doing it with my hands. You can't see it, but I'm moving my hands. I'm opening and closing them left to right, because I want it in my brain. What is domain? All right, So I'm going to go all the way to the left. I'm looking the furthest that my graph goes is right here. And so I'm going to draw me a line right there. And I see that it goes through -3. So the furthest left that I go is -3. And then I look over here and I'm like, whoa, there's an arrow. As soon as you see that arrow, I know that my furthest right goes on forever. So I can't actually trap that right side. So I'm looking here, furthest left to furthest right. I'm going to write furthest left is -3. And that's less than because I looked at the open dot and it's less than. X always goes in the middle. Is less than infinity. And it's not equal to because we can never equal infinity. Silly guys. All right. So notice it says or. Sometimes this is how we go, right? This is our furthest left to our furthest right. That's correct. But we could shorten this. Anytime you have this infinity, I could just say, oh, I can drop this and I can just say this other part right here. And I'm going to read it backwards. X is greater than -3 because that tells me, right, my X values go this way forever. Okay, so that's our domain. All right, take your other color, pick another color. I'm going to do blue. We're going to look at range. Range is the Y values. Remember, now we're going low to high. Again, I'm doing it with my hand. You can't see it. Low to high, low to high, low to high. All right, so I'm investigating. I'm seeing, following my graph, the lowest. Lowest is right here. I don't see any other low points. So I'm going to trap it right here. Here is my low. And it's right there at -4. So I know my low is -4. Okay. And it's a line right there, so I know that it's or equal to, and I point left, right? And now I have to see my highest point, and my highest point, I see this, but the arrow over here trumps that. So my Y value is still going to go up. Arrows are more powerful than dots, okay? So this is going to be less than positive infinity as well, which means I could also write it, remember, drop the infinity part and read the other part. Okay, so Y is greater than or equal to -4. That tells me if I was at -4, I could be any value above -4. Okay, that is domain and range. We're creating the trap for our graph. What are the boundaries? What keeps it inside? Okay, let's look again. All right, so example B. So pick up your domain color. Remember domain. Left to right, left to right, left to right. All right, so I'm looking furthest left, so I'm following my graph further. It's an arrow that tells me this time it's going to the left, so it's negative infinity. All right, let's find our right. Oh, I have another arrow. What? That's crazy. This one's going to go to my positive infinity, right? So I could do negative infinity is less than X is less than infinity. X is between infinity here, right? But I could also say all real numbers. Because, right, that's including everything. It includes all my negatives, all my positives. Woohoo! Everything's included. It's a party. All right, let's look at our range, which remember is low to high, low to high, low to high, low to high. All right, so again, I'm going low. Oh, look. We have this arrow, and I'm just going to tell myself, because now with Y going down is a negative infinity, right? So we're looking, just keep them separate. Don't try and do it all at once. All right, I'm looking, so I know my low is negative infinity, and then I look for my high is positive infinity. Whew, okay, so Y is between negative infinity and positive infinity. Same thing like this. So our range is also all real numbers. That can happen. Sometimes you just can't trap it. You got to include everything with it. All right, let's look again. Okay, example C. All right, domain first. Oh, whoa, whoa, let me change my colors. Oh, no. All right, left to right, left to right, left to right. Okay. Ooh, circles, 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 circles. One is closed. I know that's going to be less than or equal to. And one is open, so that's not equal to. Watch out for those, right? That's what I said. Okay, so furthest left that I go is to this point. So I'm going to trap it right here. And that's at -3. And I said it's a closed dot, so it's included, so it's less than or equal to x. And then I'm going to go follow, furthest right, furthest right, furthest right is right here. So I'm going to draw my boundaries. And that's at +2. But this one's not part of my domain. It's not included. So that's less than 2. Okay. Notice piece by piece, notice I wrote it as I found my parts so that I don't get confused with what things are. Switch your colors. Let's talk range, low tide, low tide, low tide. All right, so I'm looking for my lowest point. So I could just like, whoop, 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 whoop. That looks low, but low. This is the lowest point right here. Okay, it's not included. So I know -5 is not included. And then I'm looking for the highest point right here. That is a solid line, and we're at 2. So that would be included. So my range is between -5 and 2. My domain was between -3 and +2. Okay, so remember, just piece by piece, write it as you go. Pay attention to those dots. All right, let's do one more. Here we go. Pick up your domain color. Domain is left to right. Dun, dun, dun. All right, so I'm looking left, furthest left, furthest left. It's an arrow, which means -infinity. All right, I'm moving to the right, moving to the right. Hey, it's another arrow. That means +infinity. All right, so x goes -infinity all the way to infinity, which is the same as all real numbers. Head goes wild. You're super smart. All right, pick up your blue or whatever your color is. All right, for range, low to high, low to high, low to high. So I'm looking where's the lowest point my graph goes is right here. What is the value of y right here? That is 0. And it's a point, it's solid, so that is included. And y, and then I'm looking for the highest. Ooh, I have arrows, arrows everywhere. And remember, we're going up this time. That's why I draw it in a different color, because this time for y, going up means positive infinity. Okay, so y is between 0 and infinity. Remember, ooh, that infinity, that means I could rewrite this as y is greater than or equal to 0. Okay, all right, so keep it organized. Use 2 different colors. Write it as you go. And just watch out. Watch out for arrows. Watch out for dots. Are they closed or open? All right, let's see what we can do. Domain and range.